All right, it is Path of Exile one time again, and I am actually not that hyped for this league, simply because I have gotten a bit of an addiction to the ASWD. It's going to be very hard for me to get off of that, so I'm going to be sitting there running through the campaign for like the first hour. Why won't my character move? Why won't my character move? And that's because I'm pressing WDAS, DWAS. And that's not going to make my character move. So on that note, I'm playing Cyclone because I feel that will, be the best thing for me. I'll just Cyclone around instead of, moving around. Or I'll just glue my hand to my nuts, so therefore my left hand cannot hit my keyboard, and I'm only right-handed in this shit, for which Cyclone is also good for that. Now, I'm going to be playing a champion, and I feel a lot of other people are going to be playing a champion. The reason I'm playing a champion is the subtle buff of the mercenary. The champion is going to be able to apply buffs to the mercenary in the form of Master of Steel, I'll be going Impale, and Inspirational. Inspirational is going to buff up auras, which are then going to buff up your mercenary, and Impale is going to give them plus 1000 armor and a little extra physical damage for each Impale on the enemy. Now, I do intend to build a offensive mercenary if possible. So me and my mercenary, we're going to be gang banging together. It's going to be a lot of fun. He might even be my best friend by the end of the league. We'll see. We'll see if he's cool or if he's a little bitch. You never know. But I want to give him the best shot I can. So that is why I'm playing Champion. I have a feeling quite a few other people are going to be doing the same because it got buffed. It got some rearrangement. This now taunts on hit and does all that jazz, and Fortify now applies you to max Fortify. So Champion is probably going to be a popular pick. This is about what it looks like when I get into maps. Every league I run either a Slayer, a Warrior of any sort, Champion. I use Bringer of Rain. Bringer of Rain, the most expensive Bringer of Rain has ever been, by the time I got to white maps, level 70, has been about 15 to 20 chaos. Usually, it's much cheaper than that. A lot of times, you'll be getting this for 5 or less. Maybe because melee is real popular this league, it'll go up in price, but most people, they don't like the idea of bare chesting it. A lot of states, it's illegal to show your tatas, but in this state, you can whip those bad boys out whenever you want. And I'm going to whip those bad boys out because this is just super easy to do. It gives you everything you need. You get 3 free sockets, so you have a pseudo 7 link. You get block chance, physical damage to attacks, which is actually a little bit more powerful now. Maximum life, endurance charge when you block, and the most important part, the extra gore. You want to be goring up these people like crazy. Everything else I have on this thing is pretty much giving me resistances except for their perseverance. I have a feeling this is going to be expensive, so I'm just going to use the red belt for Intimidate. If it is not, then whatever. And when it comes to gambling, belts are going to be a really good gamble spot. So your odds of getting this bad boy when you're gambling for belts are pretty damn good. Everything else you'll see in my gear, nothing special about this. Just capping out my res, give me a little strength. This is just, resistances. There's nothing special there. There's nothing really that special here. And everybody's going to be getting the La Hoop because it's a great ring, right? It's pretty special. It's pretty special. But this is not a greatly rolled one. It's got low attributes. It's got low damage, mid elemental resistances. But I usually do run a La Hoop for the first part. And then this guy I actually do sometimes run because of the 10% movement speed when on full life. It allows you to navigate through town a little bit quicker. It is actually pretty nice. These weapons, they're just placeholders, right? My inventory is a complete mess in standard. Like if I go to the remove tabs, it is a complete clusterfuck. I don't even know what to do here. I'm just overwhelmed when I open this. So let's close that and pretend it don't exist. And I don't really have anything in there because of the way that it works, right? I have to go into all those other tabs and move it over. I ain't got time for that. Ain't nobody got time for that. So I'm going to be doing Champion. I'm going to be doing Cyclone. I'm going to be doing Impale. It is pretty average. It is average across the board. It is boring. That's why I'm not going to go very in-depth into this, because it is pretty boring. It's been done a million times, a million different ways. Impale Cyclone, you're going to get up to like 5 million damage, and you're probably going to come close to topping out unless you really want to break the bank. And for me, 5 million damage gets me all the way through in game, and it'll get me to my second character if I choose to play a second character. And this is how I like to path it as a champion. You swing down here, you grab this bad boy. It gives you a little bit of block, a little bit of damage, a little bit of life regen, strike radius, which I think is good for Cyclone. I can't remember if the strike range of Cyclone is good or not. I haven't played this game in about a year almost. This bad boy gives you 8% movement while dual wielding and 10% chance to block while dual wielding. I like this node. The 8% movement speed with Cyclone does feel pretty great because Cyclone slows you down a bit. You come up here, you get a little spell sussy, and then you make your spell sussy lucky. Now, I only got like 60 spell suppression or something like that. So every now and then you do get cucked and fucked. So spell suppression 56, and that's going to be lucky. So it's like flipping a coin twice and getting heads 2 times in a row. Probably like an 80% spell suppression. But again, you don't have it on any of your gear. You could probably get it on some boots. You could probably get it on some gloves well before you're in red maps and cap out that spell suppression. Now, come through here, get a little aura effect, because for my auras, I'm probably going to be running Pride, Grace, Precision, and I got Clarity over here, but just Pride and Grace mostly. And then, just pump it up here, pump it up here. There's your auras. Nice and covered. We got an Impale node there. We have an Impale node here. And I'm going to be grabbing the 10% chance on hitting for Impales to last an additional hit. I feel it's strong. I've never really tested it out. It sounds strong. It sounds like it's just going to give you another Impale. And then you got this Impale node here. 1 additional Impale. And you really don't have to use swords. I'm probably going to use swords simply because I like the sword nodes through here. But you could totally do axes if you really wanted to. Nothing stopping you there. I like to grab the dual wielding node here. 100% critical chance while dual wielding. 80% critical chance against bleeding enemies, and this bad boy is going to give you crit multi and crit chance against bleeding. Not so good for regular maps, regular enemies, but when you hit to a boss, you're going to make that boss bleed pretty much most of the time, and then you're going to be getting a pretty big stack of damage. And that's pretty much the main thing. You got this bad boy over here for fortification. This is rounding out your block. There's nothing really that special. Now, you could go into here and get some of this avoidance if you really want to, and that pairs pretty good with here. And then you just find one more thing to get ailment avoidance, but I find I don't really need the ailment avoidance until I'm in deep red maps, and by that point, I have re-geared. So let's do a little recap. Placeholder swords. These are not good swords. These are not the swords I'm going to be using. I will probably have better swords, but if I get these by white maps, I will be using these swords. They're not the worst swords in the game. Most of my damage is coming from Bringer of Rain, and I will be able to have this set up pretty close to at maps. This is about what I'm at when I get to white maps. I'm definitely already rocking this by yellow maps, so let's just run a yellow map, and you can just see what's happening. What is good? It is not the strongest of builds, but it is pretty stable. And just imagine I got a little gimp suited mercenary with me, and that gimp suited mercenary will do all of that jazz or none of that jazz. I have not looked at what the mercenaries do. I'm not sure they've released what the mercenaries do, so we don't really know. I don't have any of my movement skills on either, or I'd be blinking through here a lot faster. A lot of my shit's low level. I didn't want to put anything in that's a super high level. I think my Cyclone is the highest level. My Cyclone is level 18, level 13. Oh, I got a 20 pulverized just because that's the only one I had in there. Level 6 Impale. My Pride is in shambles. Level 5 Pride. Level 16 Grace. Level 4 Precision. So I'm not over inflating any of this shit in the slightest. This might be a bit underselling how good the build is, but I would much rather undersell what I'm running than oversell what I'm running. You know what I mean? Usually are pretty tanky. You're usually plenty tanky enough to where you're not dying enough to where it's fucking up your experience gain. You'll be able to get to the 80s, 85, 86. Super easy with this setup. shouldn't be dying too much, and I'm gonna have quite a bit more life. Usually I'm like 3,500 to 4,000 life, just because I grab more life and I focus on life on my gloves, my boots, my rings, my amulet. I focus on life a lot with that, because Bringer of Rain is technically, you know, 100 life on the helmet and then 100 life on the body armor, which is pretty low. But I'm at max block. My defense is here. Block chance 78%. I'm even a little bit over, right? So you can cancel some of that block shit that you got if you really want to. Damage is pretty much that 30,000. Paper damage is pretty close. You're gonna be like 250 to 500,000 because of the impales and the pride. You're not really a heavy hitter. This is not the most optimal strategy, but it does work. It does easy. It is easy to gear for. It clears. Gets the job done barely. And this is how I am going to be running it. And then once you get to the red maps, you can start getting some of your better items. I'll probably do Paradoxicas, right? You can grab your double Paradoxicas, and then you start hitting, you know, with a little bit more fervor, a little bit more authority. Then you get your Watcher's Eye to give you additional Impale stacks. That's always nice. Always a little bit on the sex side. Pretty dope, pretty dope. And these boys are all blinded up, and my evasion is like 50%, right? Chance to evade attacks, 50%. Not great, but when they're blinded up, you're dodging most of the attacks, and what you're not dodging, you're blocking. And so your spell damage is where your weakness is. So you do want to get that sussy up as quickly as possible. And you're going to do that on your gloves and your boots. And you'll be able to stack it up pretty good. Again, right? Other people's builds, they'll be killing this guy one shot. But I ain't other people, right? This is just a very reliable, middle of the road starter build. And that's all I need. That is all I need. So that was a T6. This will get you in the T6 easy. Let's just run a red map. Now 10 and 11 and 12 is typically where I start to work on some major upgrades. The good thing about this is you buy the Bringer of Rain, you get a couple acceptable weapons, you get your resistances capped, and you don't really need to worry about gear. I find that a lot of newer players, one of the things they go wrong on is they just constantly doing tiny little minor upgrades to their gear. What this will allow you to do is map all the way into reds on just like the bare bones. You don't really need to look at a lot of gear. A lot of times I don't even do that. I do the crafting recipe unidentified. So you get one of every set unidentified. You sell it. You get 2 chaos orbs for that. And I use that to stack a bunch of currencies. And then once I get into red maps, I haven't fucked with any of my gear, right? I just get my resistances capped. And I get all the way into red maps using just Bringer of Rain. And then by the time I'm in red maps, I'm usually sitting on like 50 plus chaos orbs. Then I like to take that 50 plus chaos orbs and buy the best single piece of gear that will take me into red maps that I can. Whether that's a pair of boots that have the fast movement speed, high life, good resistances, or a pair of Doxica, or maybe even this belt might be pretty expensive towards that end. In either way, I like to blow all of my currency on one really good item and then, you know, stack up for the next one. I find that to be a little bit more efficient than doing tiny little incremental upgrades. Now, don't get me wrong. If you can get an upgrade for 1 to 3 chaos orbs, that's totally fine. But I really don't like the 10 chaos orb updates, right? The 10 chaos orb upgrades. I find it better to save up for the bigger 50, 60, maybe even divine level upgrades. That's just my personal preference and my personal take. So the Bringer of Rain allows me to kind of ignore that shit, right? Because I'm just mapping and it's working and it's going plenty fast enough. And then when I get into this level of maps is where it starts to kind of fall off. You can still do it, but you can see there, I got stunned up or blocked up. I don't know what the hell happened there, but I got fucked up. And they wrecked my shit. Oh, it's got 25% increased monster damage. And they're just being dicks over there, right? That's the dickhole spot, so I'm gonna avoid the dickhole spot. And I'm just gonna head down this way. Feels like I'm getting... Oh, there's ice on the ground, right? Okay, okay. Fuck you guys. Fuck you guys to death. I don't even know what the hell just happened there. Leave me alone. I want to go back in that portal. Now, normally, I would have Leap Slam or Whirling Blades so I can go in here and engage. But, okay, I'm going to need that. Purchase items. I'm gonna do Leap Slam. Why not? Leap Slam, biggity bam. How do I put leap? How do I play Path of Exile? Okay, I just drop it in here. I was like, how the fuck do I play Path of Exile again? Leap Slam, mouse button 5. Yeah, there we go. And so hopefully I can Leap Slam into the party and get it started. Otherwise, I'll have to reduce the 25% increased damage. Yeah, I'm getting stunned. We'll, I keep AWSing. Oh, this is going to be so fucking rough. I might have to do a little bit of training before I go back. I don't even have fucking maps. Do you sell maps? Let's try another red. 12. You're fine. Whatever. I don't remember. Oh yeah, I have to identify it here. 96 extra physical damage is cold. Probably gonna wreck me. Let's just fucking do it. You can see that it's fallen off. You can see me get my ass handed to me. Black and Decker Pecker Wrecker style. And again, I'm going to have the... Oh, that's what's happening. I don't have that fortify. Here. I don't have a way of fortifying. I have to use town portals again. Oh, man. Okay. Let's, Oh, now I gotta use a Regal Orb. Oh, man. Path of Exile 2 is so much better in a lot of the ways. Refund. Oh, I already had a bunch of refunds in there. I have completely forgotten how to play this game. We're just gonna, you know... melee hits fortify just so I'm fortified up. That's what the problem was, but I won't have that problem because I'm going to be taking that maximum fortify node simply because it's super easy to have maximum fortify at all times, and you don't want to start a match and have to have no fortify and then slam in there with fortify. It's just nice to always have that fortify. Let's turn this volume down just a hair. Path of Exile is a lot more aggressively noisy. See, that takes just a hair too long. This is where you start to cap out on your damage. But I mean, I'm using shit weapons, shit gear, and it's working in a red map. I'm blinding bitches up. Oh, this guy usually fucks me up pretty good. He's got that like ground stomp thing. And again, I'm just using Cyclone. If you want to switch up to the newly buffed channeling, what is it, Reeve? Blade Flurry or Reeve. They're both way stronger than Cyclone. Or put Cyclone and Tumult on. But, you know, I got it done. I got it done. It wasn't that bad. It wasn't that hard. How do I get out of here? Oh, yeah, town portal. I'm going to run a few more simply because I need to get used to playing Path of Exile 1 again. I would throw on some Paradoxicas and a little bit more upgraded gear, but plenty of people have done these Cyclone builds. You can find it anywhere. Anywhere you can find it. This is a T13. It's cooking just fine. It's cooking just fine. Almost no gear. A couple of pieces. And that's where you need spell suppression. It's cooking just fine until you get hit with a single spell. Then you fall apart like a little bitch. But by this point, you'll be upgrading. This is why you need to start to upgrade right around here. You're gonna want your life up. You're gonna want your spell suppression at 100%. You don't want to use that lucky spell suppression. I just grabbed that shit from the beginning because it's pretty handy early on, and it's hard to get your spell suppression maxed out. Let's leap forward. We don't want those. We don't want those guys being a dick. I forgot that you have actual useful potions that could pop. It's also the low life, 2,900. And again, you want to be... Actually, red maps is actually right about when you want to be replacing the Bringer of Rain. You don't want to focus too much on doing Bringer of Rain. It falls off in the late game. It's not good past... you can usually do like Alt-Go T16, T15. But you can't go much farther than that. You don't want to be doing no Serial or no fucking... I forgot the bosses. Maven. You don't want to be no Maven on Bringer of Rain. You don't want that shit in your life. Oh, yeah. And again, it's going to be a little bit stronger in this because Champion is getting buffed. Cyclone's getting buffed. Of course, the enemies might be getting buffed for all we know. You know, GGG might be sneaking in some wild shit. Everyone's been complaining about Path of Exile not getting any content. It's possible GGG is going to give them some fucking content and wreck their fucking faces off. Fucking tar pits. Leave me alone. I keep doing my roll, which I have on Leap Slam, and it's not really rolling right. Because guess what? There's not a roll in Path of Exile 1. I mean, I might be one of the few that has this take that Path of Exile 2 is just so much better than Path of Exile 1, that to me, Path of Exile 1 is significantly less enjoyable just because of how much I like the Path of Exile 2 combat experience. That might change as I get used to it again, but for now, Path of Exile 2 is just, it's just so much better. Not the end game, not a lot of the game mechanics. I'm talking just pure combat. Path of Exile 2 for me is just much better. Now the skills do kind of suck in a lot of Path of Exile, especially the maze skills. Very, very lackluster. But just like the core essence of the game is pretty great. We're not going to fight those dudes. We don't need to worry about those dudes. Those guys, we're not going to worry about them. Let's just run. Let's figure out how I can get a T15. I want to show what a T15 looks like. So I'm going to have to go up to this gross tab. Remove only. Is it in order? If it's in order, then it'll be pretty close to the bottom. Oh my fucking god. So gross. Maps. There we go. I don't know if these are any good. What's like a toll? Oh yeah, let's grab one of these. Oh, tier 5? No. Maps. Maps? Maps. Where's it? Come on now. Surely there's a T15 and toll somewhere. There we go. There we go. I'm just gonna run a couple white ones so I don't, you know, white is right. You don't want to fuck around. You can see what it looks like on a T15. It ain't great. It ain't pretty. But you're not supposed to be running a T15 by now with this. But if you really wanted to, you could get the job done. You're just probably not going to be getting any levels because You'll be dying too much, especially on this boss. I don't know why I picked Atoll. Atoll has a nice little freezy boss who is gonna just go right past my, you know, 70% spell sussies. Let's open up this bad boy. Cyclone could be pretty great as a defensive skill. You can just have him kind of follow along you like a little bitch as you move around. And you avoid a lot of damage simply because you're moving. Oh, I gotta use potions. An extra gore dog. I'm goring them up. Agoraphobic. Ugh. I'm going back in there. I'm gonna finish that job. I'm still hitting AW. I think if I hold my fingers on the potion buttons, it'll get rid of the desired AWSD, so that's the plan. I'm just gonna be popping the 5 potion button hand the entire time. I actually very much dislike Flask. It's more buttons to push. Auto flasking is the best. The more buttons you have to push for me, the worse the game is in terms of like a mindless looter. First time through, I do like to hit buttons. I like to combo. But when I go into loot mode, where I just sit there, I watch TV, and I run, and I get loot, it's a great little additive to my normal scheduled programming. And I don't want to have to hit a bunch of buttons or pay attention. I just want to spin and win. And that's where Cyclone's coming in. I'm going to get the spin. I'm going to get the win. Smash that down. Let me come back in. I don't remember if the banners are hot anymore. Back in the day, there was a Dread banner that gave you Impale enchants, but I think they might have changed a lot of how the banners work. That will 100% kill me, so bounce on out. Oh yeah, complete fall off. But I will kill this son bitch for the horde, for the pride. But this fucking leap slam is much better. Having the travel skills back that are actually useful and good, and a map that doesn't have a bunch of fucking obstacles in your way. Okay, maybe Path of Exile 2 is a lot better than I was thinking. I'm not even getting any fucking fortify from this dude. I got 1 fortify, 2 fortify. Come on, you can get 3 fortify. Don't hit me, bro. Don't hit me, bro. This is the absolute worst case scenario where you somehow make it to T15 maps and you're still using this kind of gear. This is what you're in for. So do upgrade. If you plan on running this kind of a build, do upgrade before you get to T15s, or you're gonna be stuck fucking with this kind of shit. I do think this boss has a lot of hit points and is pretty strong. And I have to keep disengaging because I'm so weak. But we'll get this job done. We won't get this job done. I'm gonna go the other direction, and I'm not gonna fight that boss again. I am not that stubborn. Yeah, Cyclone is great. Cyclone is fucking okay. Okay, Path of Exile 1. You're still the fucking goat. You're still the fucking goat. This Cyclone life is best life. All right, let's teleport out of here, and let's see if I happen to have some Paradoxicas. Right? Let's say we're in T15 and it's Paradoxica time. Paradoxica. And let's see if we can just find some. I'm just gonna put on Paradoxicas just to see what happens with my damage. I'm imagining it's gonna double. If I even have, I don't often use a lot of, ooh, there's a Paradoxica. No Paradoxica. Oh, this is so fucking gross. No Paradoxica. And I haven't had those unique tabs for that long, so if I have other Paradoxicas, they won't be in the unique tab. Actually, let's just get rid of that and do swords. Maybe there's, oh, let's just do a Paradoxica and that. Why not? Grace, pride, precision. Grace, pride, precision. Wait, no, I don't want this atoll. I want a new atoll. I grabbed multiple atolls. T16 atoll. T16 the max? I forgot. What's up, Cyclone brah? I don't remember it spinning 2 bros out. Maybe they buffed that again. I wonder if they're pumped up by my auras too. I might be using that. That'd be so dope if a mercenary has Cyclone and we just have fucking 4 Cyclone bros. Maybe I'll even throw in that war cry. And we'll just be cycloning up. I wanna get my fucking pride back. This dude stole my pride. He still killed me, right? I didn't up my defense. I just put on a couple new weapons here. What now, bro? He's still pretty tanky. Nope. Ouch. I don't like him in the corner. He doesn't like me in the corner. Well, that's what you do with the Paradoxica. Paradoxica's a lot more damage, right? You know. It's double that. Right? Double it. Anywho. That's the plan. It's gonna work out great. It's gonna be smooth. It always works out great when I do the Bringer of Rain starter. I've never once had a bad time using Bringer of Rain as the starter build. Now the skills I like to use leveling are not the same as the skills everybody else likes to use leveling. One of my favorite skills in the game is Viper Strike. Wait, no, Cobra Lash. But Cobra Lash is pretty shit. It's real hard to get a good Cobra Lash build going. Damage is super low. It's very gimpy. But early on, if I can get a pretty dope claw, I will Cobra Lash. Not because it's fast, not because it's good, but because it's fun. So I do really like to use Cobra Lash. I like Cyclone because you can just burst through enemies. You don't have to stop and mess with them. Very weak early on. It's really hard to get Cyclone to do a lot of damage. So I usually do Splash on a single target if I can. Usually I can't because I'm trying to haul ass and I'm following my brother who's going super quick. And the best one is the Snaky, right? The Snaky is amazing. I've been running the Snaky forever, and if you can get a Snaky, more power to you. Run the Snaky. Volcanic Fissure of Snaking. Just slam that onto the ground. Super good. Smite is also really powerful for leveling early on because you can keep a little distance. You throw it down onto their face. Sunder is pretty strong, but I'm going to be going dual wield, and Sunder's a lot better with a big old fat two-hander. And one of the main reasons I'm going dual wield is I'm going to grab this node right from the very beginning. Like, my game won't let me Alt-Tab, or, like, there's nothing I can press to get out of this game anymore. Like, I can grab my OBS and I can pull this down, right? But I can't. I don't know what happened. I don't know if I did something or if I'm just a retard. But let's go into POE Planner. This is how I intend to level from the begins, right? We got ourselves the dueliest. Biggity bam, biggity bam, biggity bam. Now, why would anyone be an idiot and do that right off the gap? 8% movement speed. That's why I'm doing it. Just that 8% movement speed. I'm slow as shit, and I have to try to keep up with my brother who's much faster than me at this game. So that 8% is going to help. That's why I'm doing that. And then I'll go biggity bam, biggity bam, biggity bam. And then probably biggity bam, even though you don't get much from that, but it's better than nothing. And then maybe I'll start getting some Impale, right? If I find swords, usually I try to leave these open because I don't have any swords. So I'll go over this way, biggity bam, biggity bam. I don't really have a lot of crit, but an 80% increased critical strike chance against bleeding enemies, that's a big old fat stack of crit. And then that's also a big old fat stack of crit, right? Usually crit is really bad to get early on just because it's hard to get that much crit, but I don't give a shit. That's where I'm going. And then I will stack some life. I will get my spell Sussy, and then I will get my Sussy right there. That's how I'll start it. Get a little defense, a little bit of offense. And then from here, I will probably path back on over this way to there. What level is Impale support? I can't remember. It depends on when you get Impale support. You don't want to grab these Impale nodes until you get Impale support. And I can't remember when you get Impale support. If you don't have Impale support, I wouldn't grab those bad boys. A lot of times I actually also come down this way and get the accuracy and the all res, because all res is pretty strong early on, and these all reses are really nice. And then you can grab that all res there, which is going to give you another 10 all res. Kind of caps out your all res. All res is a bit difficult to fuck with. Oh, I also usually grab these. The mono's really nice. There's nothing saying about that. Mono, real nice. So then you can kind of do it like this. Then get your bad boys. Then get your bad boys here. Then get your critty crits. Then your spell Sussy. That's how I like to do it. Now, is it great? I don't know. It's what I prefer to do. It's what I like to do. Oh, yeah, and that bad boy. Works very well for me. Big time fan. And if you're a little low on block, you can do this plus 15% block if you have not blocked recently. That'll really help to cap up your block because you have evasion. You're going to be running Grace as soon as you get it. So you have a pretty good evasion stack, and you evade a lot of attacks. And when you're not evading, when one slips through, then you block it. And that actually is pretty good. It'll cost a regret to get rid of. I don't know if they said you're going to be able to respec with gold. Hopefully, but if you respec with gold, then the regret orbs are kind of pointless. But I guess, saves you gold. Come over here, get there, and then you're going to want, you're pretty low on life, so you're going to want to get some life pretty quickly, like that. Bam. Then you probably want to come, just keep getting these attributes, grab that life, bam. And you should have like lab 2 or something, and then you're getting that fortify. You can get that block, and you can keep going if you want, right? Mine wasn't fully spec'd out. If you really want to, you can keep going up here, and if you get some good stuff, you can use some of these sockets. It usually takes me forever to get some good sockets, right? And then you can grab these sword nodes here, whether you want the accuracy or the fizz. I typically go for the accuracy because I need accuracy at this point. Then if you're running swords, you can grab the swords. You can grab the swords. Grab the Impale. I also like to grab this early on. That's 12 all res with some evasion and armor. This will help a ton with all res if you're having a difficult time stacking your resistances. You can get just 10, what is this, fucking 18, and then another fucking 16. You're almost covered, right? You're almost covered with just that. It's real nice, real spectacular. The Slayer has just got one of the best starting zones on the planet. It's just so goddamn nice because you're next to all this good shit. And let's say you don't really like it that way. You can come over this way, and then you're already in this mix. And that mix is really nice, too. And then this mix, I'm not a huge fan of. It's pretty good if you're doing elemental damage. But this one, not that hot. The next hottest is probably this one. This one's super hot. And another thing is they buffed that stupid dagger. POE DB. Stupid dagger. I've tried to make a build out of this dagger so many times. I don't really want to fuck with it, but it did get a crit chance buff to it. Where are you at? Why aren't you here? Are you not a dagger? Oh, are you a rune dagger? Hold on. Am I on crack? It must be a rune dagger. Oh, it is a rune dagger. I don't know the fucking difference. This one. Mark of Doubting Knight. It's getting a crit chance buff. So it's already at a critical strike chance of 8.5. That's going even higher. They're adding a little bit more crit to that. So this is going to crit hard, but it's going to crit very slow, which actually does kind of pair okay with Cyclone. So if one of those happens to drop, I will be forced to waste a ton of regret to path like this to grab all of this super hot shit, because the Shadows tree is like a flaming hot shit that you just want to be a part of. All this shit is so goddamn good. And then you can path over that way, you get the daggers that way, biggity bam, super strong. Grab the best aura nodes in the game, and you're going to be poisoning everything, you're going to be bleeding everything. But I'm hoping to God that doesn't drop, because I don't want to have to do that. That is not what I want to have to do, right? I don't want to do that. I don't want. Don't force me. Don't drop this and force me to do that. Please don't. Please don't do it. Don't drop it and force me to do it. Especially because they nerfed the attack speed even farther, so it's 20% reduced attack speed. Don't make me run this dagger. Anyways, I'm pretty excited. I'll be streaming on Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and maybe Monday. I think I took Monday off, but it's hard to take work off at my place because I'm pretty important. So I always, if I'm not responding to my text messages, they'll just call me right up and be like, "Hey, your day off, but we don't know how to do shit." And so I probably won't stream on Monday. I'll check you guys later. POE1.